y'all, I'm back with some updates about the Naziah Harris case, and this is part 1. If you are new to the story and to the case, I will just let you know a little bit. Naziah Harris was a 13-year-old young black girl who was being molested by her aunt's boyfriend, which she considered her uncle. And she went missing on January 9th of 2024 and has never been seen again. Now, that's just the basics. So now we're finna get into the nitty-gritty. So we're going to start with the preliminary here in day 1. I got my notes. Got my notes. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to speak on everybody who testified, but I am going to give key points on everything that I feel is necessary. Before we begin. Now, the witness I want to start with is Jarvis Butt's sister, Tijuana Butts, because I live for her. I respect her so much for having the courage to get up there and testify against her brother, because right is right and wrong is wrong, whether you're related or not. People shouldn't be able to get away with murder and SAing children and thinking that shit's okay. So on February 26th, she called the police because she had reason to believe that she saw Naziah on January 9th at Jarvis's auto shop, because she had talked to Jarvis earlier that day and asked him to look at her car. And he said yes from the preliminary hearing in her testimony. So she goes to the auto shop and she's waiting on him to fix her car. She keeps seeing this little girl go in and out of his car to the gas station. And, you know, as any grown woman, why is there a little ass girl in your car that ain't my niece? And what is she in the car for? But I'm not worried about that right now. Now, she sat in her car watching Naziah getting in and out of the truck to go to the gas station. She actually went into the gas station when Naziah was also in the gas station. She didn't really look at her face, but she did see the jacket. She did see what she had on. She did see she was a little girl, at least from the back. Now, when she asked Jarvis, who is this little girl, Jarvis responded, either this is Cordell, a.k.a. King's niece, or this is one of my homeboys' niece. So she goes and speaks to one of Jarvis's baby mothers, and Shannon, and she gets some information about something that transpired on February 14th. We will never know what the fuck happened February 14th unless they fucking go on the internet and tell us. But in that prelim, they were not trying to give up no details. It was an objection by the defense. Now, when she got this information from Shannon and the other baby mother, she then did her own investigation and her own digging. At that point, she saw the news, and she felt the need to go ask King, Cordell, who was that little girl that was at the shop? And Cordell says, oh, that's Jarvis' niece. And I feel like immediately for Tijuana, something automatically clicked. Because she told Cordell, a.k.a. King, I've never seen no other little girls up here besides my nieces. So who is that? And he's like, oh, that's Jarvis' niece. No, it's not. That's not my niece. So what are we talking about? So at that point, she spoke with Shannon, and Shannon gave her Sergeant Jones' number. Tijuana called Sergeant Jones and said that she believes that it was Naziah because it was January 9th. She then went to the police department and gave up her phone so they could, try to see if that is who she saw, if she was there that day. And all of that was confirmed. Phone records will never lie. I don't care how much I'll be trying to delete shit. When it comes to these damn laws and doing crime, they're able to pull up anything. Now, the second person I want to get into is Latricia Johnson, which is one of about the maybe 5 to 7 baby mamas that Jarvis has, including Shannon. Jarvis used her car on the 9th and the 10th, or the 11th, either or, but I believe it was the 9th and the 10th, for sure the 9th. She has a blue Nissan Sentra, and Jarvis used her car supposedly to go do something with his son. So he was only supposed to be gone for a few hours. He ended up being gone all fucking night and didn't come back till it was time for Latricia to take her son to school the next morning. She takes him to school. She goes about her day. You know what I'm saying? After she picks her son up from school, she goes up to the auto shop so he can spend time with his daughter that she has with him, because the son is not his. Her son is in the backseat of her car playing. He's playing with a pair of clear glasses like these. You hear me? She takes the glasses from him and tells him, give me them glasses. I don't know who glasses them is. Like, stop playing with people. We don't know who glasses them is. Don't play with those. Immediately, Jarvis snatches the glasses from her and said, those is my son's glasses. Sir, what are you so aggressive for? But that didn't raise any suspicion for Latricia. Not until she saw the news and she saw the last picture of Naziah, and she definitely called the police and let them know, hey, these were the glasses that I seen in the back of the car. They match. And that was pretty much like her position and her role in this case. She was just dumb enough to let this man use her fucking car. And then fuck up the bumper and not have any reprimanding. Like, get out of here. Now let's get into Cordell Wright, aka King, which is Jarvis's business partner. They've been cool for some years. I really didn't keep the timestamps because I was trying to get the important shit about her actual case. He was on house arrest from March 2023 to March of 2024. He saw Jarvis with kids and his niece, with his kids and Naziah frequently, or sporadically, shall I say, in his words, his exact words. Jarvis ended up calling him from jail, asking him to retrieve a cell phone out of the back of one of his girls' cars, one of his many women's cars. What really blows me is how like gullible and naive all these grown-ass women were to be groomed by this man so he can groom their girls. Like, that shit's sickening. So, on the day of January 9th, Cordell, a.k.a. King, was actually with Jarvis, and they were working on Cordell, a.k.a. King's, his son's grandma's car. And it was a red Jaguar. They were working on it while Naziah had just got out of school or whatever. Naziah had texted Jarvis and was like, let me go to it. She said that, I don't want to get it wrong, hold on. Her text message states verbatim, "Don't forget, be there before 3. I will let you know when I'm leaving the school. If you're not there, I will wait." And then she texts back literally seconds later, "Send okay if you've seen the message so I can delete your number." Jarvis replies, "Okay." So while the defense was sitting there talking about how would Jarvis know to pick her up at this time, they had a time set. We're not finna fucking play with the okie doke. So Jarvis and Cordell are out driving around at quote-unquote AutoZones in different stores, and they happen to drive by Naziah, and Jarvis says, "Hey, that's my niece." And Cordell looks, and she gets in the car. Now she gets in the car, they go back to the shop, and they're working on the car, whatever. Naziah's sitting in Jarvis's truck, and she's got the car on because it's cold in Detroit, Michigan. You know what I'm saying? It's snowing at that point. It's cold. We got the heater on. I got my space heater on right now, and it's cold in Vegas. So she has the heater on. The car is running. The car ends up running out of gas. So Jarvis and Cordell, their auto shop is literally in the same parking lot of a Sit-Go gas station. They push the car over to the gas station and fill it up. When they drive it back, Cordell asks Jarvis, "Hey, you want to take her home because, we got a job to finish?" Jarvis says, "No." This is stressing me out. Now, when they finish the work, Cordell, a.k.a. King, contacts his son's grandma and was like, "Hey, how do you want to come get the car?" She was like, "Hey, I'm going to just tow it back down here." He was like, "You already towed it up here. I'll just save you the money because you already got to pay for the work that's being done on the car. We'll just drive it down there." They drove from 9,000 Connor all the way to Ypsilanti, which is about a 45 minutes to an hour drive. So from my understanding of King's testimony, Naziah was in Jarvis's truck with Jarvis in the front passenger seat, and Cordell, a.k.a. King, was driving the red Jaguar. Once they reached the son's grandmother's house, there was a woman there by the name of Talasia Moore, which is King's son's auntie. Now, when they get there, they all go inside the house. Jarvis, Cordell, a.k.a. King, and Naziah. They all come in, they speak. Talasia asked who is the young little girl, and Jarvis responded, "That's my niece." They stayed there for a little while, chit-chat, you know how black people do. And from my understanding from Cordell's testimony and Talasia's testimony, they ended up leaving. When they left, they were all in the same car, which is Jarvis's truck. Naziah was in the back passenger seat behind Cordell, a.k.a. King. Now, from King's testimony, he states that when they got back to the shop, they counted up the money and split it. And he was the first to leave because he was on house arrest, a.k.a. tether, so he had to be home by 9 o'clock. Or that was a violation of his parole and he would be locked back up. So with everybody speculating that King had something to do with it, keep in mind that if he did, it would be accounted for and he would have a ping on his location. So Cordell, a.k.a. King, did not get to see Jarvis and Naziah leave at all. He left first. Now let's talk about Tashiana Davis. Tashiana Davis was his fiance at that time. So he was fucking with Shannon, his baby mama, fucking with his girlfriend, Regine Ralding or Rolling, whatever the fuck, and also with his fiance. The fiance was responsible for taking him to the courthouse on January 9th and February 7th to turn himself in. She also was adamant about getting into his phone because he was a sneaky motherfucker. But she was not successful. I just feel like these people did not ask enough fucking questions. Come back for part 2.